Hello and welcome to Think Like a Leader. I'm Dr. Philip Shiro, your host, and I'm here to help you get your mind right. Today we're going to talk about the difference between high resilience and low resilience in employees. Now, most professionals that I work with believe that they are already resilient, even if their assessment report says otherwise, because resiliency is connected with success. But are all employees equally resilient? And if they aren't, how can you tell the difference? So I'm going to share with you three contexts in which high resilience and low resilience in employees will make a big difference. The first one is pretty obvious, and you've probably thought about it before. The second one might be a new one for you. And the third, you may not even consider as part of resilience, but you will after we get done. And we're going to look at the difference between low resilience, medium, and high resilience, and how that affects behavior in these three contexts. So the first one is the obvious one, rejection. Rejection is something we all expect to happen in a sales context. And so let's use sales employees for this first one. Now, with a low resilience salesperson, what's going to happen when people start telling them no, or not taking their calls, or not returning their calls or their emails, is that they're going to get beaten down by that. They're going to feel like I'm doing something wrong, or I'm taking it personally. They'll begin procrastinating, putting off making those next calls. Their mood and attitude will begin to subtly shift because they're taking that external rejection in to them as if it says something about themselves. And that's eventually going to create a pattern of negative expectations that will create a self-fulfilling prophecy. And that salesperson is going to struggle. We know that already. A medium resilient salesperson, on the other hand, externally is going to look fine. They may have a forced smile or a firm handshake, but inwardly their confidence can be eroded by rejection in the sales environment. They begin to question whether some of their internal beliefs are really true. Now, this can get reset if they have some success and their numbers start going back up. But the medium resilient person is still susceptible to their internal beliefs being chipped away. Now, when you get to a high resilience salesperson, they're able to not only handle the rejection that comes normally in the course of their work, but thoughtfully reflect on what they could do better from those rejections. For example, they may think through, did I really qualify and research the prospect before I started? Did I skip a step in my sales process? Does my presentation need some polish? Do I need a better close? They're able to self-critique, and they're not afraid of that because their internal beliefs are strong. Now, the rejection environment is the obvious one, but what might be a little bit less obvious is what I would call complaints. Now, with complaints, we're not talking about an unknown prospect or someone we've just met. A complaint might be a customer, so that's a little bit closer to us. Now, what's the difference between a high resilience and low resilience employee in dealing with customer complaints? Well, the low resilience employee is going to take those complaints personally. They may become defensive. They might even argue back with your client or get in a fight with your client where you've got to come in and rescue that relationship or risk losing it. A high resilience employee will be able to listen to the client's complaints and keep that client's satisfaction and their needs as the top priority, not taking those complaints personally, even if that person might have been involved in the complaint in some way. But they're able to keep some distance between the customer's experience and their beliefs about themselves as a person. In the end, that customer is going to feel valued, heard, and respected because the employee was resilient enough to handle the complaint. Now, the third context where high and low resilience really plays a part, and this one may surprise some of you, but this is the area of feedback. If you think about three concentric rings, like on a target, an outer, a middle, and an inner, we've kind of been moving closer to the center in each of these circumstances. Rejection might happen out with a prospect, someone that you don't truly know really well. But then the complaint might come from a customer, so that's a relationship, but they're not in our company. When it comes to corrective feedback, it's happening inside, on the home team, where I'm supposed to feel safe and protected in my company. But now my boss is giving me this feedback. Resilience is going to play a role in how that employee responds. As you might predict, a low resilience employee could have their confidence eroded, could really feel beaten down, or even personally critiqued or attacked by corrective feedback. Where a high resilience employee will be able to take it in, reflect on it, evaluate what they think about that as well, and make the necessary changes to succeed. Now, if employees are like athletes or players, then managers can sometimes be like coaches. And it's a coach's job to point out mistakes that are being made so that the player doesn't run into that same obstacle on the next play. That could be a reminder, or it could be a kick in the rear. But in any case, that corrective feedback needs to come, and how the employee will handle it will depend a lot on their resiliency. There are two ways to measure resiliency. The first is, what do I believe about myself even after a negative experience or critique? And the second is, what will I choose to do next? By those two measures, how resilient are you and the employees on your team? I hope you'll think about this next time you're getting ready to hire or promote someone, and ask yourself, do I have the time and energy to build up resilience in this employee? Or would I rather hire or promote someone who's already resilient so that they can perform at their top level, even in the face of rejection, complaints, or constructive feedback? Until next time, I'll see you soon.